Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 6, Book 61, number 565. Narrated by Qatada. I asked Anas bin Malik about the recitation of the Prophet. He said, he used to pray long, certain sounds, very much. Volume 6, Book 61, number 566. Narrated by Qatada. Anas was asked, how was the recitation of the Qur'an of the Prophet? He replied, it was characterized by the prolongation of certain sounds. He then recited, in the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, prolonging the pronunciation of, in the name of Allah, the most beneficent, and the most merciful. Volume 6, Book 61, number 567. Narrated by Abdullah bin Mughaffal. I saw the Prophet reciting Qur'an while he was riding on his she-camel or camel which was moving, carrying him. He was reciting Surat Fath or part of Surat Fath very softly and in an attractive vibrating tone. Volume 6, Book 61, number 568. Narrated by Abu Musa. That the Prophet said to him, O Abu Musa, you have been given one of the musical wind instruments of the family of David. Volume 6, Book 61, number 569. Narrated by Abdullah. That the Prophet said to him, recite the Qur'an to me. Abdullah said, shall I recite the Qur'an to you while it has been revealed to you? He said, I like to hear it from others. Volume 6, Book 61, number 570. Narrated by Abdullah bin Mas'ud. The Prophet said to me, recite the Qur'an to me. I said, O Allah's Apostle, shall I recite the Qur'an to you while it has been revealed to you? He said, yes. So I recited Surat an-Nisa, the women. But when I recited the verse, how will it be, then when we bring from each nation a witness and we bring you, O Muhammad, as a witness against these people? 4.41. He said, enough for the present. I looked at him and behold, his eyes were overflowing with tears. Volume 6, Book 61, number 571. Narrated by Sufyan. Ibn Shubruma said, I wanted to see how much of the Qur'an can be enough to recite in prayer, and I could not find a surah containing less than 3 verses, therefore I said to myself, one ought not to recite less than 3 Quranic verses in prayer. Narrated Abu Mas'ud. The Prophet said, if somebody recites the last 2 verses of Surat al-Baqarah at night, it will be sufficient for him. Volume 6, Book 61, number 572. Narrated by Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As. My father got me married to a lady of a noble family, and often used to ask my wife about me, and she used to reply, what a wonderful man he is. He never comes to my bed, nor has he approached me since he married me. When this state continued for a long period, my father told the story to the Prophet, who said to my father, let me meet him. Then I met him and he asked me, how do you fast? I replied, I fast daily. He asked, how long does it take you to finish the recitation of the whole Qur'an? I replied, I finish it every night. On that he said, fast for 3 days every month and recite the Qur'an, and finish it in 1 month. I said, but I have power to do more than that. He said, then fast for 3 days per week. I said, I have the power to do more than that. He said, therefore, fast the most superior type of fasting, that is, the fasting of Prophet David, who used to fast every alternate day, and finish the recitation of the whole Qur'an in 7 days. I wish I had accepted the permission of Allah's Apostle, as I have become a weak old man. It is said that Abdullah used to recite 1/7 of the Qur'an during the daytime to some of his family members, for he used to check his memorization of what he would recite at night during the daytime, so that it would be easier for him to read at night. And whenever he wanted to gain some strength, he used to give up fasting for some days and count those days to fast for a similar period. For he disliked to leave those things which he used to do during the lifetime of the Prophet. Volume 6, Book 61, number 573. Narrated by Abdullah bin Amr. The Prophet asked me, "How long does it take you to finish the recitation of the whole Qur'an?" Volume 6, Book 61, number 574. Narrated by Abdullah bin Amr. Allah's Apostle said to me, "Recite the whole Qur'an in 1 month's time." I said, "But I have power to do more than that." Allah's Apostle said, "Then finish the recitation of the Qur'an in 7 days, and do not finish it in less than this period." Volume 6, Book 61, number 575. Narrated by Abdullah bin Mas'ud. Allah's Apostle said to me, "Recite the Qur'an to me." I said, "Shall I recite it to you while it has been revealed to you?" He said, "I like to hear it from another person." So I recited Surat and Nisa, the women, till I reached the verse, "How will it be, then when we bring from each nation a witness, and we bring you, O Muhammad, as a witness against these people?" 4.41. Then he said to me, "Stop." Thereupon I saw his eyes overflowing with tears. Volume 6, Book 61, number 576. Narrated by Abdullah bin Mas'ud. The Prophet said to me, "Recite Qur'an to me." I said to him, "Shall I recite it to you while it has been revealed to you?" He said, "I like to hear it from another person." Volume 6, Book 61, number 577. Narrated by Ali. I heard the Prophet saying, "In the last days of the world, there will appear young people with foolish thoughts and ideas. They will give good talks, but they will go out of Islam as an arrow goes out of its game. Their faith will not exceed their throats. So, wherever you find them, kill them, for there will be a reward for their killers on the day of resurrection." Volume 6, Book 61, number 578. Narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. I heard Allah's Apostle saying, "There will appear some people among you whose prayer will make you look down upon yours, and whose fasting will make you look down upon yours. But they will recite the Qur'an which will not exceed their throats, they will not act on it. And they will go out of Islam as an arrow goes out through the game, whereupon the archer would examine the arrowhead but see nothing, and look at the unfeathered arrow but see nothing, and look at the arrow feathers but see nothing, and finally he suspects to find something in the lower part of the arrow." Volume 6, Book 61, number 579. Narrated by Abu Musa. The Prophet said, "The example of a believer who recites the Qur'an and acts on it, like a citron which tastes nice and smells nice. And the example of a believer who does not recite the Qur'an but acts on it, is like a date which tastes good but has no smell. And the example of a hypocrite who recites the Qur'an is like a raihana, sweet basil, which smells good but tastes bitter. And the example of a hypocrite who does not recite the Qur'an is like a colocynth which tastes bitter and has a bad smell."